Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Hope everybody's having a great day. So today we're going to be talking about the top 5 skills I think every developer should have in tech. Okay, so there's a lot of different advancements in tech now, right? You got AI, you got all these different languages and coding libraries or frameworks, I should say, to help you become a better developer. All right, and it's great stuff. I mean, it's not the conventional from like the basics, and you're expanding it to do something better, creating workflows and doing everything easier. Okay, that's what it is as a developer. Like, use tools to your advantage to where your life is a lot easier, so you're not writing anything from scratch. If there's a library for it and everybody's been using it, use it, evaluate it, see if it works for you. If not, go to the next thing and, discuss with your team. If you're working with a team, what's the best path going forward? If you're learning on your own, then you could do the research on your own in terms of, what libraries I could use to get my project up and running for this particular scenario. How do I go about building it? And, should I be spending a lot of time learning this language when there's better alternatives out there? So number one is obviously you gotta understand AI. You gotta understand how AI works. ChatGPT, Claude, GitHub Copilot are great AI tools to use. Now, if you are not a programmer that loves to use AI tools and you want to figure out everything on your own, that's fine. But you have to understand that it's going to come a point in time where AI needs to be used somewhere. You can't figure out everything. So if you're not readily working with the team and you don't really have the skills yet to accomplish solving a big problem, you could use AI as a pair programmer assistant to figure out the best way to go about solving that problem. And the biggest way I like to solve complex problems is to understand what the problem is, the bigger picture, and break things down into smaller pieces so that I can easily manage it and work on the harder task in that list to easily get to like the easier ones. Okay. That philosophy has worked for me tremendously in my career. I was able to get a lot of things done, and I've used AI to that advantage to make sure that when I'm working on a complex problem that if there's something that I can't really figure out, I'll just prompt AI like, hey, can you help me solve this issue? And it will give me a prompt back that might seem like it's correct, but then I have to evaluate it myself to see if it actually works. And if it does, then we're good. I would test different scenarios, and if everything checks out, it checks out. Understanding AI to its core is going to help you tremendously as a developer, and embracing the fact that AI is here and that is here to help in certain scenarios is going to make you great for it and actually make you more productive and save you a lot of time as well. Number two is that you got to understand different languages. I say 3 languages. So like full stack mastery, at least 3 core languages that you could get away with that you could program. You could do React.js, Node.js, Python. For databases, you could do MySQL, NoSQL, depending on what language you want to go for. Understand the pros and cons of it, and then just evaluate it on your own. If you're just learning one language, you're going to just be stuck with that one language. If you expand to at least 3 languages that that could be the same fundamentals in different languages later on, if you wanted to transition into those libraries, then you could easily do that. Number 3 is, DevOps and CI/CD pipelines. This is very important. Okay. So understand, Git branching strategies. How do you create a branch? What is the difference between a main branch versus a QA branch? And then based on these 2 different branches, how do you create a feature branch to work on different features and, commit those changes to your repository, right? You could easily use a CI/CD pipeline to automate that process. So as soon as you create a feature branch, you could have the CI/CD pipeline run and build out the resources that you need for that particular branch. This is what you call infrastructure as code. So you could have all the resources that you need, all the backend APIs, the resources on the backend, all the database that you need to target for a particular branch, and then also the front end code that you need to start working. You could use the CI/CD pipeline to build all that dynamically for you within your branch, make the changes that you need to, and when you run the code locally, it will pull down all those resources that were dynamically created. This is very important if you want to get to a point where you have your environments isolated to where if you're working on a feature that's going to take a long time, you can have it sit in the feature branch for as long as you want, and just make sure that you update it and add the iterations to it and make sure everything is up to date before you merge it into the main branch or the QA branch for testing. This is crucial to development, because just pushing everything to the main branch after it's done, you're going to run into a lot of potential issues. So that's why with the branching strategy of main, QA, and sometimes a dev branch, where you just push everything into that branch as like the first step, then merge that over into the QA branch for testing, will save a lot of time. If you could understand, like Vercel is a very good CI/CD pipeline that you could use that's relatively easy to get set up, right? So if you wanted to create a feature branch using Vercel and actually push those changes into that branch, it should be able to trigger that pipeline and build whatever you need to do. You want to run tests on your pipeline. So if you have unit tests, you can do the same thing. Look into like Vercel, Bitbucket pipeline as like examples, and just build it, just do it, right? And see how everything fares from there. And then you could get like a basic understanding of how these pipelines work and understand what DevOps is all about too. Number 4, which is very important, and a lot of people neglect this, and I don't know why, is security. In your application, you need to have security. If you are building an app that is using a lot of third-party libraries, you are going to run into the potential risk of exposing your app to bad actors, okay? You need to make sure that whatever code that you're writing, whatever code like libraries that you're downloading into your project, that it's from a reputable source, that is being maintained, and that actually you did a security scan on it and there's no issues. Like, I remember working on a WordPress site and I wasn't maintaining it. At one point I was, but then I kind of just did my own thing and I was doing software development. But someone installed a bunch of different extensions that weren't maintained, and it created a security flaw. I had to look at what the issue was, and I understood, okay, well, why do you have a third-party library just to add a tag to this when you could easily just customly code it? There's no reason to do that. Unless it's something very major like an authentication system that's going to take you a long time to build. You don't necessarily know like the back end of WordPress to build it, and there's like a third-party library that you could pull into that. That's fine, as long as it's being maintained. But just to download something just because it makes like it has what you need at the time, it doesn't make any sense. So you got to always make sure that everything that you have in your project is being maintained. And if it's not being maintained, understand the potential risks that you are exposing yourself to. And if it's something that you could build, make sure that you just remove the extension before the problem gets worse. And then the last thing is very important as well: soft skills and AI collaboration. Your soft skills is very important. Communicating as a developer, explain exactly what you're doing. If you're doing tech planning, like I'm tech planning this epic, I'm working through the requirements, I'm having conversations with product around this, and I need clarification on certain things. Don't leave people in the dark, because if you're just like saying, oh, I'm just working on this and that's it, I mean, there's no room for understanding exactly what you're doing. So at least just say, just give like a high level of what you're doing. All right. And if you're collaborating with another team, make sure that you stay on top of that. Sometimes communication can fall off, but it's like, hey, like we need to get this done, and I just need to know what you're working on, and not micromanage, but just like have accountability. If I'm working on something and we talked about who's going to be doing what, I just want to know, like, hey, did you finish your part? If you did, then I'll just work on my part. We'll collaborate together, figure out what the missing pieces are, and go from there. It's very important that you have communication skills and not just I'm just going to code and that's it. I'm going to stay to myself. Come on, bro. You're on a team for a reason, so you have to communicate. And those communication skills will help you in other areas of your life too. Use AI as an assistant. Collaborate on different projects with AI as much as you can, to the point where it understands what you're building, and it understands the code that you're writing to make it easier. So as you're typing something out, it already has an automatic prompt to finish that code. And it will just make it easier for you to just write like in a flow state, and you should be in a good spot. So like I said, don't neglect those soft skills. And then also the AI collaboration is key to your success. So that's it, guys. That's the video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if these top 5 skills is going to help you in the future, or if you actually are using these skills. And if there's any skills that I missed, I would like to see you in the comments. And then also, if you need any help with your portfolio, looking at your projects, understanding what route you want to go in tech, reach out to me at thefullstackbro@gmail.com. All right, we'll talk soon.